Yeah, we had an amazing day. We had
Kim said it was a huge turnout.
I'll do my report.
84 registered cars and probably another.
And you've got a meeting.
Ready?
I had to park.
It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the June 20th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. We're going to start out with prayer from Commissioner Heberling and the pledge from Commissioner Sarkella.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. We thank you for a free country that we can come and to meet as elected officials to do business for our community in our county. We thank you for each person as represented here today. And Lord, we ask that you'd guide and direct our thoughts and our decisions as we go through this meeting. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Black.
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard.
Here.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberling.
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella.
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee. Here. District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart is absent. District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Thank you, Leslie.
Here.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda if there are no amendments. Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Heberling to adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve our June 6th meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, support from Commissioner Moody to adopt our June 6th meeting minutes. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. You would receive your correspondence from Jody through email the other day. That'll take us into commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Moody.
I just have one Fremont Township, ended on the 15th. They discussed and hired a sound expert for their wind project. There was quite a bit of public comment about that. On who they were hiring. But at the end of the night, they ended up hiring someone from Michigan. He was from Michigan somewhere here. I'm not quite sure. They're going to have a public hearing on their land use permits instead of having it at their building because they expect a very high turnout. Their building only capacity of 154, so they're going to look to move it to the Croslex School District in their cafeteria area. And that's it. I have Work Township tomorrow night.
Thank you, John. I have no commissioner report today. Christine?
On the 12th, I was at the Brown City Council meeting and they had their festival in the park and the sheriff posse was a big help. And they would like to thank them and they were a great asset to the festival. And then they're going to do on 2nd Street, they're going to do a repavement project and they going for a bond on that. And then on the 13th, I was at Maple Valley Township meeting. They hired a new assessor. And then on the same day that was at Flint Township meeting, and they're doing a scrap tire recycling event on July 12th. And tomorrow I will go to the Village of Peck. And then on Thursday, I'll go to Elk Township.
Very good. Thank you, Christine. Bill?
Just the Village of Port Sanilac this time. They're moving forward with their fire authority, working through the legalization of that, and the village will be taking over operations again. They had a water quality update, passed all their water quality. They're going to be working on the Blues Festival and then the Parks and Rec programs moving forward. And they've got a part-time person working there. That's all I have.
SEFA, Bill, the village probably did have the department, then SEFA took over. And then now that SEFA is questionable, the village is going to retake it back over.
Yep. So the village will be running it and then they're just working out the logistics. And of course, you have that township bond that was passed sitting there as well for the fire authority. So we'll see where that goes and how they're going to figure out the use of those dollars.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Gary?
I attended Moortown Township meeting June the 6th. Really nothing to expand on there. Last night, I attended the Sandusky City Council meeting. the city manager related that he's going to start bidding on the water pipes for M46 for next year. And relayed he's a little bit nervous about it because prices keep going up. And then second of all, Chief Lester related that they had a person of interest broke out of McKenzie Hospital yesterday, and they caught him a few minutes later, or apprehended. The word's apprehended, but all was good. In my report.
Thanks, Gary. Roger?
Last Tuesday, I attended Marlette Township. They're using ARPA funds to redo their parking lot. They've had some standing water issues up there, so they're gonna regrade that. They're also gonna add a concrete pad and fenced in area for the recycling bin that is really highly utilized. That's the county bin.
That's a bin from our department down there. That's one of the few areas in the county that has an extra,
Yeah, it
like a
is.
satellite facility.
And it gets used extensively. They had a very large crowd. There was a bad accident. I think you probably heard about it, Decker and French Line Roads. And that has been a bad intersection for years, ever since they paved French Line. It's like a racetrack. I've had personally close calls there on my bike in particular. So I think the road commission can expect a pretty large crowd at their meeting tomorrow. And I relayed that to Rob Falls, but I haven't heard back from him yet. I can't make it. I've got a point.
That's not a four-way stop, right, Decker?
Right. French Line, it was a bus converted to a motorhome. It had, I believe, 6 occupants in it, maybe more. They ran the stop and T-boned a S10 pickup that was going south on Decker Road. And fortunately, nobody died, but
They
it
were all
was
flown out.
pretty serious. What's that?
They were all flown out later.
Actually, the helicopter had a problem with one of the clamps for a gurney and they couldn't airlift who they wanted to airlift. So they had to take them by ambulance to Saginaw. They were the only ones that would have been airlifted, but hopefully they can do something to mark that better. I know going across there, it's so wide open, them stop signs kind of get lost on the horizon, and they really need to address that. And if I could, I'd change my appointment tomorrow, but I can't. Just a couple other little things. Greg Alexander has hours on the last Monday of the month out there from 9 to 10 a.m. And Lisa McLean's staff is out there every Monday from 9 to 5 at the Township Hall to answer any questions people have. And they're also, the mayor of Marlette was there. He attended, and just to talk about maybe a cooperation with the township on the park and pool. So we'll see how that goes. Last night I was at Lamont Township. They had some discussion on some road projects, just normal maintenance and culvert replacements. Their attorney was there prior to the meeting to discuss sand mines. Apparently there's 4 in the township right now. They've had a request for a 5th. It sounds like of those 4, maybe only 1 or 2 are active at all. But they just needed some clarification on zoning and what they can and cannot regulate. And that may all be for naught because there's some regulation pending, or legislation, I should say, pending at the state, which may take anything they have to say about it away. We'll see how that goes. Their fire department was there and they discussed joining MABUS, M-A-B-A-S. It's a mutual aid box alarm system, which is basically a statewide mutual aid system. One thing they noted in particular, there was a paper mill fire in Menominee up in the UP. There was actually a truck from Dearborn that went up there to assist on that. And that's what this is. They join a group and there's a board and they'll make decisions on who or what equipment they will send to a large fire like that. So it could be a benefit to the area for sure. That's about it.
Thank you, Roger. And touch on a note that Roger had there about the gravel mining. There is some legislation in Lansing that would potentially strip local control from gravel sand mining. And if you haven't already, I would encourage everybody to get with your state representative or use the MAC Advocate tool to send an email. They have a line of logic that it's going to make road construction cheaper, but it's Lansing that just did right to work and made road construction more expensive. So I'm not sure what they want to use both arguments or what they're trying to do, but I would always be an advocate for local control. The people that live in that community know best what it should look like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. I appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. At this time, Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yeah, thank you. Following up on Roger spoke on Lisa McLean's office. I know we had discussion earlier in regards to providing some space for Coalwood from her office. I think mainly it'll be Coalwood, but it sounds like that's in the works, and he's looking at the last Wednesday of the month being over at our EOC building, probably between like 8:30 to 4. He would come here, you'd get a guest pass to get into the building, be over there during the hours, then return it at the end of the day. So sounds like wheels are in motion. He said he does have the site in Marlette, so they're looking at starting out once a month and then seeing if they need to expand from there. I went to the Thumb Opioid Regional Summit that was up in Ubley. They did a 2-day event. The TORC group, they call it, the Thumb Opioid Regional Group. We heard speakers from the state, from MAC regarding opioid funding, ways to utilize those funds. Saw a lot of other leaders, Brian from the health department, Will from community mental health, folks from the court, other staff at both of those agencies, the health department and CMH were there. It was a 2-day event where they focused on those who struggle with substance abuse issues and ways to support them in their recovery. Thumb Festival this weekend, so a variety of events taking place throughout the town. Be things on the courthouse lawn, up Main Street in Sandusky. So lots of events for everyone of all ages. We're going to have a meeting Friday. I don't know if many of you have heard about this, but there's a push to get materials management plans in place, or I guess begin discussions on those for counties. The state is pushing counties to work together and try to get regionalized efforts with materials management plans. So we've got a meeting set up right now with some folks from the state and then Sanilac, Tuscola, Lapeer, and Huron. And we're going to talk about, the big focus is ways to reduce waste, reuse items, recycle. What they want to do is mitigate as much items as they can get into the landfills. So but like for some counties, that's a barrier. Huron County doesn't have a recycling center. So they would look at, is there ways between Tuscola and Sanilac, could we help support them with recycling efforts? So we're going to begin those discussions starting Friday, see what that would look like. Another thing for you guys to know, I was talking to the drain office. So the bank issues, bank failures, if you will, because of that, drain offices may come under more scrutiny as they try to receive loans from the banks. And a lot of banks will not provide them loans unless they get full faith and credit from the county. Now, I know our drain commissioner, Doug, came down and received that from you guys. I think that was shortly after the first of the year on one of his loans. And that was kind of out of the norm, but it may be more normal moving forward. So you may see more of him. I guess banks are just leery with everything going on about lending out big amounts without having the full faith and credit of the county. So sounds like drain offices are getting some guidance from the state on other things maybe they could do. They talked about whether the county treasurers can lend delinquent tax revolving funds, whether the county could put more money in to like a drain office's revolving loan fund, or the third option. I guess I should say the first option was just full faith and credit from the county. So
Interesting. How did they pick the drain commission?
I think the reason why is because the loans they get a lot of times are so large through that, but I don't know specifically. And I was talking to Angela in Doug's office. I didn't get a chance to talk to him on this exact issue because there might have been some more updated information provided, but I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop on that. And I'll update you as I hear more about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Nathan?
Nope.
I appreciate your report.
Thank
Nathan.
you. Thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we'll move on. We have a presentation from Phil Cates. Phil, welcome. It's good to have you.
Well, nice to be here. Thank you. So it really is a pleasure to be here in front of the Board of Commissioners. Like Commissioner Black said, my name is Phil Cates, and I thought I'd give you a little bit of background on myself and where I'm from. I live in Lapeer County, but I grew up in Mayville. So I'm really pretty much been in the thumb most of my life. And so because of that, I'm a Michigan State grad and fortunate enough to work in agriculture really since I've been married and having to have a living. Okay, let's put it that way. So it's been since 1983 that I've lived and worked in the thumb, excluding 5.5 years in Northwest Ohio. And I was talking to Commissioner Heberling earlier about being in Ohio for 5.5 years. That was my kind of a sabbatical, but I worked for Purina Mills as a district sales manager for the feed company and did some nutrition work. Well, so anyway, that's a little bit about myself. Started with Extension in 1999, and I've been with Extension since then. And I have been primarily focused on field crops. So I've spent the majority of my time working with corn, soybeans, wheat, sugar beets, dry beans, all of the crops, major crops. But I really have focused on forages, which would include alfalfa and corn silage as where I have what I'm statewide appointment. But when it comes to field crops, I work throughout the entire thumb. I'm not restricted to one county. If you've looked at Extension in the past few years, we've changed a little bit. It's not just one county for one educator. Now we have to cover multiple counties. It's one of those things that it's just the model that they have. So with that, I spend a lot of my time working in this area. And so I wanted to just draw your attention to some things that I had in that packet that I gave you. One, I wanted to provide you with my business card. The other thing is some things that are pertinent to Sanilac County. The one on the top is actually going to be held in Brown City at the MHC elevator. And we're going to have a grain bin and manure pit rescue training program. This is both for producers and for agribusiness and first responders. So we'll be drawing from a wide area, and we have some folks out of Iowa that are coming that are going to do 3 days of training across the state of Michigan. We wanted to make sure that we had one in the thumb because of all the concentration of livestock and crops. So I think that's going to be a terrific opportunity for some professional development for our first responders. And I don't know if you are familiar with a farm or someone that has had a tragedy due to grain bins. I have. It's one of those things. I got a call one morning from a farmer about 10 o'clock. Tried to call him back. There was no answer. That's the day he died in a grain bin. So it's kind of personal. The other thing that I have for you is it's the back sheet that says soybean on-farm trial locations. MSU Extension provides to the soybean farmers across the state of Michigan trials based on their input on what they want to learn about. And so this is just a location, and Sanilac County is very well represented. Some of that is due to the involvement of Martin Nagelkirk, who is the former county extension director. Martin and I were both county extension directors at the same time. I was in Lapeer, he was here in Sanilac. But we have both worked on farms with the soybean program, and we have more trials this year that are going to be part of that program. But I think it's just an idea for you to realize that there are lots of things going on in the county when it comes to agriculture. And I think the farmers have been receptive to these trainings, as well as the research plots that we have. And then the last thing that was in that packet, this is really hot off the press. I got these, I picked these up last Tuesday, And we have a report from the field crops team. This is a statewide report, but it highlights some of the premier and high quality programming that we're doing in field crops across the state of Michigan. And in fact, I'm going to talk about one of the programs that's included in here. But that's really for your benefit to look over at your leisure. I don't want to spend time going through that. You were all able to read well, so we'll leave it at that. So with that, I want to take the rest of my stuff. All right, so let me share a little bit more about the field crops team and what we do. In 2018, we had a group of producers from across the state. And we had young producers, old producers, agribusiness that came for focus groups. And we actually met on campus in East Lansing. And when we were there, we said, how would you like to get information? And a couple of young guys, both from Sanilac County, said, we want something that's fast. We want it convenient for us. We don't really care, how you get things, but we're of the internet age. We want things where we can get it online. And so with that, we developed a program I'm going to call the Virtual Breakfast Series. One of the things that has done, it was a vehicle for farmers and agribusiness to get up-to-date, timely information that was concise and focused on information for the growing crop that day, that week. Well, in 2018, that worked, but we had a few people, okay? I knew it was a good program, but we didn't have enough participation. I was at a meeting in Frankenmuth, and I said, how many have heard about it? In a group of 100 farmers, or I think 2 hands went up and said, and I went, oh boy, we've got to do a better job. Well, in 2020, things changed rapidly. Nobody liked it, but we went to all online programming. The Virtual Breakfast Series was ready to go. And we jumped and had participation went from 900 live participants in 2019 to over 2,000 in 2020. And I think we had the right program at the right time. And this program today, it's a 26 webinar series. It's on Thursday mornings at 7 o'clock. So the farmers can get it, then go to work and not have to worry about the rest of the day. We have 15-minute topics, followed by 15 minutes of weather. And we live by weather, but whether we believe it or not, if it's too wet, too dry, too cold, too hot, whatever, all of those things. And then we have a half hour of Q&A where any farmer, any agribusiness can join in and ask specific questions of the specialists on topics. And it's been very successful. We target farmers, agribusiness, government agencies, people that just want information on ag, but we also provide restricted use credits, restricted use pesticide credits, and also certified crop advisor credits for those that want them and need them in order to keep their certifications current. So the real goal is to provide up-to-date information that's research-based, unbiased, and ultimately we want to increase knowledge and also provide an opportunity for them to get improved production efficiency and ultimately higher income for the farms. That's what it's geared for. That's what we're trying to do. Last year, our topic areas, carbon markets, crop management, insect and pest management, plant diseases, soil fertility, soil health, water management, soil drainage, and of course, the number one problem in all of agriculture for farms, weed control. It's a big one, okay? So last year, we had 3,869 people participated live. From there, we also had YouTube videos. We supply this online where people can look at it anytime. Farmers that are in the tractor can listen to podcasts. We had another 5,000 there. We also have it on our website. We had over 8,000 visits there. So a total of over 15,000 views from people across Michigan and other states and nations were part of this program. So one of the things that I do is I actually go Facebook Live for people to join us online. And it's, I don't know if you can trust Facebook. I don't. We have to use them, but according to them, we had essentially another 30,000 views. I wonder about that. It's a guess, I think, on their part, but it shows the power of live streaming and social media. And we are using this vehicle in all aspects of trying to get the information out to our farmers. We're in a different world today. We can't do only online program. We can't do only live programs anymore. Everything changed in 2020 with the pandemic. And I think this is a good opportunity for us to provide lots of information in a usable way. So what does that mean for the Board of Commissioners here in Sanilac Lake County? Probably not much, but it does, because as far as county participation, 25% of the participants, those live participants, came from the thumb. One out of 4. 271 of those were from Sanilac Lake County. That was the #1 county as far as participants in 2022. And I expect more of the same this year. So it wasn't just Sanilac Lake County. The top 5 counties were all based on the thumb. Like I said, we have every major growing area is represented. Over 58 counties participate in this program. 15 states from, let's see here, Nebraska, Maine, Vermont, Texas, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Ohio, New York, Florida. And we've had 12 countries all the way from South Africa. I don't know how that guy got on there or got us, but he did. Canada, Ireland, Nigeria, Turkey. People are coming from all over. And I'm not sure how they get it, but they're coming. So one of the things that I try and do is I want to make sure that we're meeting what the audience expects and what they need. And so I do a post-evaluation survey at the end of the year. And last year I had 278 surveys that were returned. And based on that, they give us the number of acres. And then they also give us some other things that I'm going to talk about. We had 1.7 million acres represented last year in field crops. That's a lot of acres for Michigan. As far as our impact metrics, we want to make sure that we're hitting the mark. Increased knowledge, 99% had increased knowledge. 77% said they either have or will make changes on their farm based on the information. And so all of that really leads to improved production efficiency and higher profitability. Well, we asked them to put a number on it. And it came out at $15 an acre, which is approximately $7.2 million of impact on this program. I was fortunate enough to enter this with our National Association of Extension Educators in Agriculture. It was chosen as the national award winner for programming for all ags programs across the country. And so I'll actually give a presentation probably similar to this one in August in Iowa. So it's very good. But I wanted to highlight it because I think agriculture is important to this county. I'm sure it's the #1 industry by a long shot, by a lot. And just to let you know that we do other things besides just this program, and I thought I'd list some. Thumb Ag Day is active up in Nutley and draws from a wide area across the thumb. We have crop and pest management updates. We actually had 2 in the thumb. We had a cover crop field day at Shaw Farms. We had a succession workshop for farmers here in Sandusky. We had soybean trials. We had dry bean trials and field days, Beckerville. I had a crop marketing management meeting in Marlette. We have a program called Hey Wow, which is a virtual program. So this year, we're going to have that farm safety workshop. We're also having the soybean on-farm research in PEC. Will provide an up-to-date information on all of those trials that were in the area. I did a Greenstone market outlook. I've got a pasture walk tonight, so it'll be a full day. Another succession planning meeting. We'll also have dry bean and soybean field days yet this summer. So with that, I'm going to stop there and say that my goal is to provide this board with the information that you want and need. And so my question for you is, how do I do that? And I need your feedback and help to let me know what you expect from us, because now I'm going to take my ag hat off, which I love to have on, but I'm going to put my district director hat on and say, I represent all of programming with extension, and I want to provide you with what you want. So my question is, how often and how much do you want?
Well, I think that'd be individual for each commissioner on what they'd like to see. What I like to see would be something at least quarterly, with a concept of what kind of programming is being provided. And the other thing that's important for me is understanding how much participation you're getting out of constituents within Santa Ana County. So you've shared a lot of that excellent information related to the agricultural work that you've done here today, but understanding some of those other programs that MSU Extension provides in the county, along with the participation rates or the number of people involved, would be helpful for me.
I think in particular, the youth programs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And it's good to see that map that Sand Lake County was so highly represented. That's,
well represented.
yes, knowing that we can do it, it's a good feeling.
Bill, you do have Mary. You need her to speak up.
Hi,
Excellent. Go ahead.
I apologize for not being there today. I had a meeting that ran about 15 minutes shy of when you guys started, and I didn't want to walk in late, so I figured I'd join everybody with Zoom. That is something absolutely that I can provide to Phil when it comes to my programming within the county. I did start with Senior Project Fresh Distribution last Friday. I had 19 participants in that one alone. I have 25 coming up for my June 27th at Sandusky Library. And I'm starting to fill up on my other dates. I have made a date up here in Deckerville, where I live, to kind of outreach more towards the top of the county, because I understand the gap in transportation. So it's kind of my goal to go up to Deckerville, and I've got some in Marlette, and I'm fairly based in Sandusky. I can go ahead and send Phil an updated list on our flyer of the dates provided, so that anybody can give that information out to whoever, if you guys would like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, Mary.
And I agree with John. I think quarterly reports would be good.
So today we have 4 institutes within Extension. And within those institutes, of course, I represent agriculture, plus I've got my other hat on. Then we have children and youth, which really is 4-H, a big part of that. We have the health and nutrition side. And we also have what I'm going to call they call it community. CFE is the acronym, but it's really community and economic development, as well as other things that don't fit with agriculture and youth and families. My goal is to have one of those at least quarterly for you. And if that's enough, or would you like to have all 4 institutes quarterly?
I think each one quarterly, it would work out well.
To me, that's my plan before I even came. So you've reinforced what I was thinking, and I'm glad to do that.
Do you have information and password, how you get into virtual breakfast into the via Zoom?
Yes, sir, I do. You have the request go into that program.
Who do we request that through you?
You're talking to the guy. I coordinate that program, okay? So basically, we have 1,675 people that receive emails twice a week as reminders to let them know that the program is coming up on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. If you provide me with your email and contact information, I will put you on and you'll get a confirmation and the link on Thursday morning at 6 a.m.
Okay.
Got you covered.
You know, you don't get fed at a virtual breakfast.
Yeah, that's,
Donuts are very healthy.
I caught that. That's a cost savings, a great cost. Yeah.
The best donuts ever, right?
Farmers love to eat, you know that.
Well, hello.
When your wife retires, she can cook you breakfast that morning, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us, Phil, how the first responders are going to be notified of the
What I have done is I have contacted our emergency management coordinator in Lapeer County, and I'm sure she has sent something out to all the different counties across the area. But I would be willing to talk to all of your emergency management coordinators to make sure that they know, because that getting the word out is important.
Can we make sure that Phil has Todd's contact information?
Yeah, I'll link you into an email with him.
That would be terrific.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure, and there's limited availability as far as places and spots for that training. It's pretty specialized. So we want to make sure if there are people that want to get in there, they need to register early on that. Other questions, concerns, or I'm here to help you. So let me know how I can do that. Okay.
We appreciate the presentation today, Phil.
Oh, my pleasure. And look forward to working with all of you and Nathan and Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jody keeps everybody on task, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like every other office.
Well, if you worked with Mr. Nagelhart, you got a great background.
Well, Martin and I were part of the TARE program that was very successful in this county from 2006 to 2016. I was right in the thick of that whole program. It's probably the most successful program that I've ever, well, second most successful program. This one's pretty good too. That I had ever been involved with, because farmers received data that was local and they want to have local information. But it's one of those things where today the companies that are out there have a job to do, and they need to provide products and they provide services to the farmers. And the one thing that MSU brings that they don't have is unbiased. We're not tied to a product. When I was in agribusiness, I may have said the exact same thing to a farmer, but when I started with extension, they believed me. They didn't believe me before because it was tied to a product most of the time.
Mhm.
So there are advantages to extension, and it's a great organization. A friend of mine on my first day said, Phil, it's a great bureaucracy. And it is a bureaucracy, but it's a good one.
No, I don't want to put any pressure on you. Martin wrote an article every 2 weeks and put it in the newspaper. Just so you know.
Fantastic. I'm glad he did.
Good for
Right?
Now, I have been writing articles for the Satellite News every spring and every fall with Eric Levine. And so I am doing that, but I can guarantee you, Gary, Commissioner Heberling.
Yeah, Gary's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I'm not going to have a chance to write articles every 2 weeks, because I told Matt Shane when I agreed to be interim that I had a full-time job before I took the responsibility. And he said, well, do your best.
Well, like you said earlier, that's why we have internet now, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
So, but just to let you know, this is an interim position for me. My plan is not to continue as the district director long-term. I'm too close to retirement for that. It's not fair to them. And I don't really want to do two jobs. One is enough for me. That's the way I look at it.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Phil. Okay, I see no need for 13A, or 14 or 15, which will take us to committee reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Ballard.
Oh, let's see, last Friday had a Michigan Works meeting over in Lapeer. There's a lot goes on at them meetings, much more than I'm gonna report here, but their numbers of usage continue to climb down there with training, job placement, just the whole gamut of it. It's they have some really good programs down there. See what else I have. Oh, I had committee meetings with CMH on the 12th and 13th, last Monday and Tuesday. And a purchase agreement has been signed on that Dawson Street property down there. So that was a nice step forward for them. And that's about it on that. I did want to mention one other thing. At Lamont Township last night, one of their trustees brought up to the fire department, he questioned them on training that they have received for accident scenes. And they actually have never received training of any kind for directing traffic at a scene. And they were referring to an accident they had at Germania and Decker Road, I believe it was. Last Friday afternoon, there were three, within a several minute period, 3 serious accidents in Santa County. And I happened on one at 19 and 46 in Elmwood. It was chaotic going through there. It just happened. A deputy had just arrived on scene. He was over talking to one of the people involved in it, but there was vehicles scattered everywhere and people in plain clothes standing out there, you know, trying to direct traffic, and people were not slowing down to go through there. And yeah, I was glad he brought that up. Actually, one of the detectives is their zoning administrator. And he said they have never had any kind of training for managing the scene of an accident. So he was, I think, going to ask some questions on that. It makes sense to have something, because there are things you can do to protect yourself out there.
Right.
Get a vehicle between you and the oncoming traffic or something.
Right.
So I was glad he brought it up.
You thinking like possibly like having like Todd put together some, because they just did a big training, which was like a search and rescue.
Yeah.
But if they need to have the generic, there's a lot of new people in fire departments across the county, a lot of young guys getting involved, and that could save a life.
I was going to get a hold of Todd and start a conversation with him, because it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I think road crews that are doing construction work have a better idea how to maintain lanes and whatnot.
You can guarantee they've been trained in it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's got to be maybe a tie in there. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm going to talk to Todd about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Roger.
Yep.
Gary?
I'll start back 2 weeks ago. We had a monthly Parks and Recreation at Evergreen Park. And I probably ate the best ribs I've ever ate, right? Yeah.
What? They didn't have ribs last time I was.
Yeah, it was good.
You could have 4-hour ribs or 6-hour ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would literally fall off.
They didn't have to-go boxes, so I didn't understand.
So we discussed the house out at Lexington Park. It's going to need some repair or replacement. And second of all, this morning, we had our ARPA meeting, and I won't go into a lot of detail about that meeting. One of the things that we talked about in past meetings, ARPA paid the way for the guidebook for alternative energy for our county, which is going to be part of the master plan, which is due any day, I guess, right?
We're getting awful close, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're almost close. So it was a plus to add to our master plan, and provided some good information, and that showed both sides of the debate. Second of all, we had our personnel committee meeting this morning, and that was to go over Mr. Roski's performance over the past year. And I'm happy to say that and I think I can speak for every commissioner here, and we're going to vote on it in our finance meeting. Nathan's done a fantastic job. Has really pulled our department heads together, worked well with the department heads along with our board of commissioners, and he's done a fantastic job. And I'll let John talk a little bit more about it, give you more details. But Nathan come out with some of the highest marks we've given him sometime. So he's done a great job. We appreciate all you've done, Nathan.
Very good. Thank you, Gary.
Can I back up just a little bit?
Sure.
Gary mentioned the house at Lexington, and I know you're all aware we had an issue out there. Jim Bowerman and I met with a builder out there Friday afternoon. And did a little better inspection of that house and some of the issues going on. To call it a house is kind of inflated. It's a cottage is what it is. And it's looking more and more like we'll probably end up just tearing that down and building or bringing in a prefab or something to replace that. Issues with heating and whatnot. To fix that one right now would require taking off the whole second floor and just building new. And we're not even sure that will be allowed. I got to talk to the inspectors upstairs and see. So the emergency status is kind of off. They can still stay in it. It's fine. So,
Okay.
and it may work out okay because if we can get our ducks in a row, they go to Florida for a month in the fall, so, or early winter. So it may all work out good. Okay. So
More to come on that one then.
a lot more to come. I really didn't need this at this point in time. I've had a lot on my plate the last month and I
The
didn't.
way these jobs go though, right?
Yeah,
Just when you don't think there could be any more of that phone rings.
I think we make about 35 cents an hour. I do.
Thanks, Roger.
Just for the love of the job, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I didn't know we got paid.
Yeah, now the cat's out of the bag. We've been taking bills and spreading it around.
Yeah.
ITPC met a couple weeks ago. MI file is going strong and the kiosk for the court document is that up and running yet in the lobby? I know they were working on it.
They're still working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
State audit's coming up for them as well. And we're going to be updating cameras and door security. Hopefully here in the near future. And John sits on that board with me too. So I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that or.
No, I think you covered it pretty
Okay,
well.
that's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Christine?
On the 7th, I had the LEPC Community and Emergency Management, and to piggyback on what Roger said, the Mavis, they asked all the fire departments to sign that agreement. And what it does is, like, they might get a fire truck from Sandusky, but when you send it, you have to send a 4-person crew, but they don't have to all be so they can have like this truck from Sandusky with a Sandusky fireman, a fireman from Peck, a fireman from Deckerville, a fireman from somewhere else. So it doesn't shortchange your county as far as that goes. Also at that meeting, they had the CAM Search and Rescue, and it's a Christian aid ministry that supports it. And they're starting a group in Michigan. They have 20 of them already in Michigan and 6 are in our area. And I talked to the guys individually. There's a couple from Snover, one from Decker. So they really are close. And what it is they had their trailer up and with their computer system and whatever, and they work with our local law enforcement and our local government. And if it's a search and rescue, let's say a dementia patient or whatever, if they have the dogs out, the dogs will go out first. And then after they get it all cleared, then they would go in. They would not supersede. They would work under our law enforcement. They would not oversee them. But it was very cool because on the computer, they can sync their phones and whatever, and it keeps track. Like when you're walking in the woods and you're thinking you're walking in a straight line, but you might be doing one of these. And when they come out, if they didn't find, they can bring this up in the computer and it shows where everybody went. And if there's a big open area, they can come in and search that area. So that was very cool. Also, the health board met this morning and the senior fair is at the school on Friday. They're giving shots for shingles and all that good stuff. And the IT person was talking about do your updates on your computers, even your home computers, because they're finding that 85% of your computers that get hacked have older updates. If you keep your computers up to date, then it helps prevent from being hacked. And it says test your backups. Food trucks are every Thursday at the health department into August. Regular exercise may boost pain tolerance. So if you are in a lot of pain, if you start doing more exercise, then your tolerance will rise. And that's about all I have for right now.
Thank you, Christine. It really is as simple as eating your fruits and veggies and going for a walk, right?
Yes,
People can't figure it out though.
Motion is a motion.
yeah.
As Bill stated, we had ITPC together. He pretty much covered that. And then also this morning personnel, I'll expand a little bit on what Gary said, which was all accurate and good. I'm happy to announce that Nathan's overall score in the evaluation on a scale of 1 to 5 was a 4.74, which means, Nathan, you are highly effective. And that means your exceptional performance goes above and beyond what is expected, consistently producing high quality work and demonstrates exceptional skills and knowledge. You make significant contributions to the success of San Luis County. So that's an excellent job. And having been here for the last 2.5 years and experienced what we've gone through in the last 2.5 years has not been an easy couple of years. COVID made everything difficult. We've had lots of challenges. You stepped in right into the middle of those challenges and rose to the occasion. So much appreciated.
Thank you.
And then for the board, we're going to have an add-on item during finance where we'll discuss the evaluation and contract a little further.
If I might add, having been here for the last 16 plus years, I appreciate you even more.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's all I have for committee reports. John?
I attended the Michigan Works also with Roger. Nothing different from what he said. I have a MDHHS next week and then that's all I have.
Okay. And as MDHHS, are those still Monday mornings?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. I appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no unfinished business, so we will move into new business. And we are going to start with FA 087-23, approval of 2023 current claims.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2023 identified on the accounts payable report dated June 13, 2023 for the general bank account in the amount of $186,416.95.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 088-23, budget adoption amendments, appropriations and transfers.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes of the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 089-23, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged May 2023.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank accounts checks charged to May 2023 as follows: $718,962.21 for ACH payments, $50,581.03 for online bill pay, $707,582.33 for checks, for a total of $1,477,125.57.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 090-23, adoption of the 2023 taxable value report equalization.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the 2023 taxable value report of $1,862,708,827 for San Luis County as presented, and further authorizes the board chairman to sign the necessary documents and equalization director to implement.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 091-23, authorization to post and fill probate clerk vacancy, probate court.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the probate court post and fill the court clerk vacancy at a pay grade 5, step 1.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 092-23, authorization to dispose of vehicle, Sheriff's Office.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the disposal of one 2017 Ford Explorer, VIN number ending in 93135, with 125,000 miles through Albright Auction Service of Vassar. Further authorizes All proceeds of the sale to be deposited at the sheriff's office vehicle line.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 093-23, award and authorized bid for HVAC buildings and grounds.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Rapson Refrigeration the bid to replace the HVAC units with the Aon brand at the 171 Dawson Street building at a cost not to exceed $311,640 with funding from ARPA funds.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion?
Did we, in our last meeting, did we talk about timing on that, lead time?
I'm sure we did. It
It
was
was in-
the Aon units were available much faster than the train unit.
Right, I remember that part, yeah.
18 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Seems.
So Nathan, are we in the concept of getting that accomplished before winter?
Yeah, I believe the lead time was, I want to say it was like 16 to 20 weeks or 18 to
Yeah.
22 weeks. And the other ones were going to be like potentially 24 or more weeks for the train units. So
Okay.
So we're looking at October probably. or something.
yeah, I know Rapson's over there today. Nick said going through things, they're already kind of starting, looking where everything's going to have to go and kind of beginning.
A little history on them. When they did the units over in the other building or the other half of this building, they were gonna just reuse the zone deflectors. And the company had said, yeah, this unit will work, and it didn't. They ended up replacing every one of those at their expense. They're an excellent company to work for, both the installer and the company.
Any further discussion regarding FA 093-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 094-23, approval of cooperative reimbursement contract renewal for friend of the court.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the Title 4-D Cooperative Reimbursement Contract Renewal with the State of Michigan for the Friend of the Court effective 2024 through 2028, and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary contract.
Support. Motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 095-23, approval of Title 4-D Cooperative Reimbursement Contract Renewal Prosecutor's Office.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the renewal of the Title 4-D Cooperative Reimbursement Program contract with the State of Michigan for paternity and child support effective 2024 through 2028, and further authorizes the board chairman to sign the necessary contract.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That concludes new business. At this time, we'll entertain general public comments. Are there any general public comment today?
It's a question on the master plan. That you're both, Matt, is it, will there be a notification in the paper? How will it get out?
It wouldn't necessarily be notification in the newspaper. I would assume it would be newspaper worthy for a story to be printed, but that master plan will land at the Sanilac County Planning Commission for approval and ultimately land here at the legislative body for approval here as well. So
And there's a copy going out to every township supervisor, correct?
there could be.
Thanks.
Any further public comment today?
Hello, my name is Diane Ferguson. First, I'd like to thank the board for taking this time set aside for public comment and public education. I'd also like to have it on the record, let it reflect that 2 weeks ago I came before the board and I commented on SMART, surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting technology, which is what it was at one time, but as our government, as we all know, changes the verbiage. As of now, it is sustainable monitoring, analysis, reporting technology, which is under climate change. That's why we're now sustainable, not surveillance, because we have now went from the tech, the FCC technology, the internet, into the climate change. That's all about the climate change. I'd like to let you know that I'm returning this book today to the library. This is The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It's written by Jack Hare. It's been around for a very long time, talks about hemp and its sustainability. I feel hemp is the answer to a lot of our problems that we are living in right now, is we have 15-minute cities come down the road, World Economic Forum, and Agenda 2030. In this book, which I said I will be returning it to the library when I leave here, so anybody's free to go check this book out. Through hemp, farming, opiate epidemic, CBDC, central banking digital currency is what I'm talking about. 15-minute cities, oil, energy, food, industry, jobs, hemp. Keeping our farms. If you're looking what's going on in the Dutch, the UK, the France, they don't have no jobs. Them farmers are gone. They're fighting their government. They're in total riot over there because of the land grab. That's what the World Economic Agenda 2030 is about, the land grab. Not only our land, but our children too, and us. One last comment. Last week, I attended a seminar put on by a group of people. I had a chance to listen to a commissioner here in Michigan. We talked about the CBDC, how we gotta dress it head on, how to protect ourselves, what's coming. And I have his information. If anybody on the board would be interested in talking to that commissioner, I freely give you his name and his phone number. And my phone number is 810-712-6645. You can reach me there. You can, although my representative says he can't reach me there, whatever that's for. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments today.
You're welcome.
Are there any further public comments today? Seeing none, we will move on. I see no need for an approval of closed session minutes, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting today. Motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Heberlein. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 2:02.
One motion, I don't even get it done.
You know that?